Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for another edition of YBMcast with Matt and Brian. And we've got some prep baseball coming your way. We're going to talk a little bit about all the classes, what's going on so far down in it's actually Ozark, we have to say, because it's not in Springfield. It's in Ozark at US Ballpark, which Ozark, if you haven't been, is what, 3 miles from Springfield? On 65 as you're heading down to Branson. Ozark. Boom. There you go.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, and we want to give a big shout out to Lance Kettering for being on the show last week. Springfield Sports Commission, if you're interested in looking into any kind of tourism and stuff, they got some great stuff on their website. We'll have that link in the show description, right, Justin? In the show description. There you go.
Mr. Producer says yes.
Exactly. So we'll have that for you. Lance, a good guy. They partner with Misha. They're the ones that brought the state championship down there. So go to the Springfield Sports Commission. You can Google it if you want as well, and check out all the new sites. They got the Sports Hall of Fame down there in Springfield as well.
Yeah, I've never been. Have you?
I have not. So I know they have it. And I know a couple of people. My brother-in-law's father, he's been a sports official. He's done football, college Division II, I think 1, whatnot. And he's with Misha, and he does a lot of football assigning for the state and whatnot. And he's in the Springfield Hall of Fame there. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, that gives you another reason to go.
Exactly. So that his name is Emery Dilday. Hello, Emery, if you're watching. But we've got some great stuff here for you. First, I want to say, don't miss, Tuesday we're going to be announcing the winner of the Charlie Hustle card giveaway. The box set here with an autographed I'm going to turn it this way. There you go. An autographed card of Pete Rose. So don't miss Tuesday. We'll be talking about the championships from this weekend out at Game 7 baseball and around the state of Missouri. We're going to have Kevin Mulder hopefully coming in. He's down in Springfield. He'll be. We're hoping to get him joined into the show here, but we're going to get started today. Matt, why don't you lead us off? We're in Class 1, right?
Class 1 is actually, they have finished. So June 1st was the championship game, and I guess you pronounce it Oren?
I don't know.
Oran?
We were discussing.
I really don't
earlier,
know, but
I have no
congratulations to them because sorry if we're butchering your name, but they are the Class 1 Missouri State final champions. They beat St. Elizabeth 3-0.
And then you had Green City beat Leeton 7-1 in the third place game.
Correct. So Green City then takes third place in the state, and St. Elizabeth will then take second place.
Yeah.
Class 2 is also finished, and Marionville beat East Buchanan 8-7. And then, so Marionville is the Class 2 state champion for Missouri. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to East Buchanan for second place. That's a heck of a season. And then, was that
Putnam County?
Putnam County, yes. Putnam County beat Holcomb 11-9. So Putnam County is the third place for the Class 2.
And two, I love that. You know, we didn't see, and that's why we're hoping to get Kevin in here from Springfield. But 8-7, I mean, that was a close game, man.
Yep. So Class 3 is St. Pius X out of Kansas City and Lynn in the finals, and that is 1:30 today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, we've talked about that St. Pius team all year.
Yeah, St. Pius is they've, they had to beat Jefferson and Warsaw and Carrollton to get there, and they've had, 2 close games, and then they had one that was pretty lopsided. Mm-hmm. And Lynn has some good players.
They're steamrolling, folks.
And Lynn has put up 35 runs in 3 games in the state bracket, which is very impressive. And they've only allowed, 7 runs. So that's a huge run differential for them.
And, it's interesting to me because as we've talked with Kevin all year, he follows some of these teams. He knows some of the players, and he'd even talked about Skyline having some pretty decent players there. I mean, Lynn just 15-3. They just put it on them.
Lynn has good players. We discussed off air where some of those kids play summer ball.
Yeah.
And I don't care how good your players are, you still have to show up and play. And right now they're showing up to play. So St. Pius X is I think has their hands full, but they're also a very good team. So it should be a good game.
And Lynn is Central Missouri, and then in that third place game, you got a couple of Festus. That's South County and Ellsbury, just up north of us here.
So a couple of schools on the eastern side of Missouri in the third place game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Class 4, we take us to Class 4, and this championship game is actually, I don't know if it can get any better in Class 4 than this, right? Kennett and Blair Oaks.
I'll tell you, I don't think so. I mean, personally, and everybody thought, even when we talked last week, we did not think we weren't going to see Springfield Catholic and Blair Oaks. And Hollister surprised Springfield Catholic,
Right.
Happens. As we've talked this whole time about one game, you gotta show up and do it.
Correct.
And
but it was a 3-2. I mean, Blair Oaks only beat them 3-2. It was a very close game. It was a great game.
Yeah.
And then, Kennett, they broke it open against Lafayette St. Joseph, so 11-4. But their game prior to that was a 2-1 against a Priory team.
And I think that game was here, wasn't it? Or was it in I think it was here. I think it was at Priory.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm pretty sure. But I think that's going to, as we said, Justin and I, we're heading down there this afternoon because we're going to be in Springfield this afternoon and for tomorrow, and we're going to get to see that Kennett Blair Oaks game, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yep.
Because Blair Oaks has good players, and as we've talked about, Kennett's got those 2 kids going to Arkansas, and so we're going to see some Division I talent in Class 4.
Correct.
And I think that's pretty impressive, don't you?
Yeah, I actually think, and no notch on Class 5, but I think who's left in Class 4, those teams can compete with Class 5, and I think they can compete with Class 6. Just because they're a small school doesn't mean that they can't compete with the bigger schools with who's left. Because, some of these teams can roll. They're solid. And we've talked about that with Kevin earlier. Is some of these smaller schools, they have tested the waters against the bigger schools and held their own, and sometimes won throughout the season. So
exactly. And I think Kennett. What is their record here? Let me look at this. Kennett is, they're 25-8.
Yeah.
And Blair Oaks, I think theirs is even a little better.
But Kennett played Willard.
They're 28-5,
and they beat Willard.
They beat Willard.
So early in the season, but it's just.
And here, like this one, and here's another one: Jefferson City, who is in the Class 6 semifinals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Blair Oaks lost to Jefferson City 3-2.
Right.
So this kind of goes, and versus Lynn, who is in. Lynn's on the other side. They beat Lynn 7-5. Blair Oaks did, and that was Lynn's a small team, but Lynn's that shows you kind of where
Lynn
they're
then
at.
Playing up.
So it's like we're talking about here. There is a lot of, and you've got Lutheran St. Charles here with Blair Oaks. They put it on Lutheran St. Charles. CBC played Blair Oaks, and they lost to CBC 10-5, and we all know what CBC is.
Yeah.
So and they beat Rockbridge.
Right. Well, okay, you go to Class 5. You've got Rockwood Summit and Grain Valley in the semifinal game, and then Zumwalt South and Willard in the other semifinal game. Willard is a very good baseball team, and I'm actually, I'm not. I mean, I don't want to say I'm shocked that South is there, but
it was the very first game.
I think that they've been playing well.
Right. It was the very first game of the season, but Willard lost to Kennett 7-3. That shows you where Kennett is.
Right, but Willard has also played Rockbridge, Staley, Kickapoo, Springfield Catholic,
right,
Webb City. I mean, you're talking about these are teams that they played throughout the season and consistently playing good competition.
You know, they've exactly, and they've put up. When you talk about when they beat Webb City, they beat Kickapoo in the season. So Willard's put up some really good wins, solid wins, and I think that's going to be a really good semifinal there between Willard and South. And South has had some good wins. They were kind of
I think they were left for nothing early in the season, and I think once you got into the playoffs, I don't think anybody expected them to come out of there.
Right.
So kudos to them. I mean, they're making a run. They made it to state Final Four. They're playing good baseball, and anybody can beat anybody.
Because you look back, here's South's record. Here's what South did. On May 1st, they were playing Timberland. They'd lost to Timberland the day before, or it was a doubleheader. That's what it looks like. They lost 14-9. They beat Timberland 13-1. And they reeled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins in a row.
Playing well at the right time.
And that goes into the Class 5 state tournament. That goes through the district. So they've won,
Right, and for you to win 11 games in a row, a lot of things need to go right for you. You don't just win 11 games in a row because, and not at this level, because you're just beating everybody because you're so good. There's, you've got to throw somebody that's maybe at the bottom of your rotation, and it's not a great matchup.
Right.
But then things need to go well, whether the other team makes more mistakes than you do. There's just a lot of things need to happen, and which is good for them because things are going well for them at the right time.
Because in this win streak, you have Timberland, you have 2 wins against Francis Howell, you have St. Charles West, which we know what they did this year, Troy Buchanan, and then they got into their district tournament. I mean, it's not like it was chump competition.
Correct.
So kudos to them getting into that, the state semifinals there, and that's that. So at the top there, we don't know as much. Even Rockwood Summit, I know it's over here in West County, right?
Yeah, Rockwood Summit. If you're here right now, then obviously you're a good team. But I would say Grain Valley has been discussed many times in regards to having talent. Rockwood Summit's has been discussed of having talent, but Rockwood Summit's also another one. They've beaten Howell, they've beaten Liberty out of Wentzville early in the year. They got beat by Zumwalt West, but then they got beat again by Howell. But they've had to play Lafayette. They've had to play Lindbergh. So they're another one where they're right around 500 going into the tournament. Things go well. They get some good matchups. They win some games, and here they are. They also had to beat the favorite, which was Parkway West. And
that's the thing. And they beat Parkway West in that district championship game 11-1.
Correct.
So, wow. You can't take any away. 17-14 going into this.
It's very similar to a DeSmet team in 2019.
So we'll see. We'll see. But they got their hands full today. I think Grain Valley is. I will tell you just from the things we've talked about, watching them, they're 26-8. I think Grain Valley is the team that you're going to look for to come out of this with the championship. So that's what I'm picking right now. I know, it's just a pick. We're not trying to,
No, Willard's got a pretty good arm, though. but I'm assuming that arm's throwing in the semifinal game, I would think.
You know what is that strategy? Do you get there and then worry about it tomorrow?
Well, you only have 2 games. You lose,
Right.
you're done, so I think you have to.
I think you have to, too. I think you're going to see those semifinal games. You're going to see those guys. And,
you should see the dudes come out.
yeah. So, I mean, and it's not like they beat a chump team, Smithville. They won in that quarterfinal game. I mean, Smithville's been good all year. So I think that Class 5 tournament is as good as, or that Class 5 semifinals are as good as the Class 6 is going to be, personally.
Yeah, and I mean, you want to talk about Class 6?
Let's do
Because
it,
that's where all the drama seemed to be, wasn't it? You've got we can go right to the jugular here with Francis Howell, Zumwalt West game, which puts Zumwalt West in the Final Four. They ended up winning that game 7-6.
Yep.
Which was technically, I guess, our game of the week.
I agree.
And then that's the game that we saw, we watched, we were there live, and both teams played very well. I think one of the things that we have to really talk about with this game was the atmosphere.
Oh,
the atmosphere,
it was electric.
The kids, everybody being out there. It reminded me of an old school DeSmet CBC basketball game when Larry Hughes played for CBC. And it was literally like Duke, North Carolina. It was a Cubs, Cardinals. It was that type of atmosphere. The kids were going crazy in the stands. 2,000 people plus. The place was packed.
Yes, it was.
And I said this to one of the coaches and one of the players at Howe. At West, I'm sorry. I said, what happened to you in the first inning could have easily happened to Howell in the first inning if Howell didn't hit first and if West hit first. Because you got to think, right out the gate, these kids have never been in an atmosphere like this. At least majority of them have not.
Right.
So you get the tight cheeks, you get a little excited, right? And you're trying to do more than you can do. And kids are overthrowing. Kids are, not wanting to make an error because they're going to, they don't want to boot the ball around. So Howell comes out and scores 4 pretty quick.
Yeah.
So Howell scores 4 pretty quick. And it's almost like, okay, both teams just need to settle in.
Mm-hmm. And they did.
And both teams did settle in. And also kudos to Subert, the pitcher for Francis Howell. He had a no-hitter through 5.
Yes, he did. He was throwing darts.
He was at 87. I think he topped. I thought somebody said he was stopping at 91 early on in the game, but he threw very well, and it was 4 innings of literally just Tanner Perry settled in for Zumwalt West.
Yep.
And we got to the 6th inning. It's 4-0 going into the 6th. Or 6-0 going into the 6th.
Yes, it was 6-0
going into the 6th inning.
Because they scratched a couple runs.
Yeah, and then West finally got some bats going. Hargraves came in for Perry, so then he doubled down the line, and that got it started.
Yes, yeah. And I think that was such one of those things when you look at, that pitch. He comes in that inning, he shuts down Francis Howell, and then he comes to the plate.
Yeah, and he gets a double, and then it just kind of was a trickle effect.
Yeah.
So then we go to 6-4, and then we get we can cut chase to the bottom of the 7th inning, because the bottom of the 7th inning was a roller coaster of emotions for these two fans.
Oh my gosh!
So you have first and third. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, we had first and we had first and third with nobody out.
Right.
And it's 6-4. Zumwalt West decides to bunt the guy on first over to second base. That was to the dismay of a lot of the fans.
Which I thought, I was like, me too. I'm sitting there like, you got first and third, and you bunted him to get him to second and third. And I was thinking, man, but that was the tying run, so it was a decision.
It's a decision, whether you agree with it or not. I actually wasn't fully opposed to the decision, because now he's putting pressure on, okay, we have we have multiple ways now to get the game-tying run from second to home.
And you're out of that double play.
And you're not giving up a double play at the moment. So that happens. Okay, they bunt him over, second and third, and we have 1 out. Ground ball, third base, who now is Subert's now playing third.
Yeah, that's right.
And ball chopped. He goes back on the ball instead of coming forward. Has to make that long throw across the diamond. As soon as the ball's hit, guy on third automatically scores because he's going on contact. He's in easily to make it 6-5. Throw gets away from third to first from the first baseman. Kids rounding third should easily be able to score. Falls down between home and third base. Like
I thought he was out. I thought he was going to be out.
You can't make this up.
No.
Francis Howell throws the ball third. Kind of bobbles it a little bit. Kid gets back. He is safe somehow.
I was like, oh, no.
So now we're in a situation where it's first and third.
And honestly, I was on that side. I was still over where we were originally and watching that on that third. I mean, I'm seeing this. I was just like, how is he not out? It was amazing.
So, and then a chopper up the middle. First and third, one out, chopper up the middle. And I actually later talked to a Howell coach about this. McCutcheon going to his left, shortstop. I think he kind of looked down or misread.
Yeah.
He took like a spin hop on him and it was a little quicker and faster than he expected. Taylor made double play from the naked eye. Catch it, step on it, throw to first, game's over, double play.
Yep.
So the ball gets by him. Run scores from third, obviously. So now we're tied at 6. And then they get two guys on, so they intentionally walk the next guy, which I think is Whiteside. I think they intentionally talked Whiteside to load the bases with one out because they want the force out. They want the double play. And it gets better. It gets better. Ground ball, shortstop. Turn, throw to second. Second baseman is standing over the base. Kid slides into the base, gets the ball, kind of falls down, doesn't make a throw. Ump calls him out, which he's out at second base. Well, Francis Howell's arguing that it's interference, and I think there's confusion because at the time the umpire didn't initially state what he was calling out.
Right. Yes.
That was, I think that
was the confusing
issue.
Part.
Is he didn't say out at second, it's safe at first.
He just threw his arm up.
He just threw the arm up and said out. So Howell's assuming interference. We go to extra innings. Wes comes running out. So the whole Francis Howell side's cheering, going crazy. Wes comes running out. Goff is arguing. And the ump says, no, he's out at second. He's safe at first. Game's over. And then that's when it just did a
interrupted.
flip-flop.
Yeah.
So that was the last inning to get to the state Final Four between two schools that if they weren't rivals before, they're rivals now.
Exactly. And, I'm going to say this. I've been an official. I've done high school games. I've done college-level games. And the mechanic in that, and this is where things get problematic for umpires, and I guarantee you any training umpire will tell you, that umpire should have been this is a big situation.
Yeah. It's the last inning of the last out.
If you're going to call him out at second, he's out at 2. Look, call it right away. Or call time. Get the other official if you have a question, because they did bring the official in from first and said, what did you see? Did he go into the bag? Because he slid into the bag. He didn't pop up or anything like that. I don't know if how far over he went.
Well, that was their argument. So I had a conversation with one of the Francis Howell coaches, and Perkins' argument was he slid past the base, and they're enforcing that this year that you can't.
Yes, you can't. Exactly.
So they're saying, well, he slid past the base. There's video out there. I personally didn't think there was interference. I didn't think you threw past the base. But there was one thing that got brought up to me that I thought was spot on, and that is the second baseman was it Doherty? Doherty, I think, not Whiteside. I think I had that wrong because Whiteside's intentionally walked. I think Doherty was playing second base for Howell. So one of the coaches said that he told him, learning experience, that situation you have to at least throw the ball.
Yeah.
Because if you're here and he slides into you and you're falling back and you throw and it looks like you're throwing and getting taken out and you can't make the throw, from the naked eye, that's oh, come on, man. Like, you just took him out. It's interference. He's out.
Right.
But he didn't throw. He just fell back. Now, come on. The kid's 17 years old, 18 years old.
Right.
And you're asking him to do something that in a situation he's never been involved in. But as he progresses through his baseball career, he knows from here on out, I have to throw the ball no matter what in this situation.
Yeah. And it's a bang call. Do I say the official was wrong? No, I'm not going to sit here and say that or this. That's not my point. But I would have loved to have seen the official been a little more emphatic in his call. At
that point, you have to take control and say, out at second, and then is he first? He's safe. Cool. Game's over.
Exactly. If you saw that in head, just go,
it's done.
Safe at first, and make that call so there's no. And this is what I think gets. And that's the difference sometimes in your umpires and whatnot. Not that he made a bad call or this or that. Sometimes it's just a matter of let's make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Correct. You got to take control and be vocal. But in the end, the atmosphere was amazing. And Francis Howell's going to say, we were up 6-0 and we blew 6 to the lead. But then kudos to Zumwalt West. I mean, they fought back.
Yeah.
And things had to go their way, but they also gave up some runs early in that game that in a normal circumstance they probably don't give up. Tanner Perry's throwing the ball well, a little wild early because I think he's a little overexcited. A couple of the players, throwing the ball away a little bit because they're a little overexcited. And then you get more nervous because you're in an atmosphere. As soon as you mess up, that entire side is going crazy.
And, it shows you really how, both these teams are really good, but it shows you really how good West is. They never quit. They kept taking at bats at bat. You get into that, they got that one hit, and it really energized them. They jumped on the opportunity, and they made the most of their opportunities. You got to love that.
And we were talking with Kevin, and he said that it's going to be like a state championship game, and by God, it was.
It was.
It was like a state championship game.
And
it was, and honestly, congrats to the student base, the fans, the parents. There's kids that didn't have a dog in the fight that are there watching the game, and a lot of alumni on both sides. And Francis Howell has a really good baseball team.
Yeah.
And Francis Howell has some really good young players.
They're going to be there. That's the thing, and I'm really looking forward to the GAC over the
They are going to be there. Yeah. I think for West right now, they're senior heavy. This is their run.
But the thing of it is, the depth of that team is in their junior class and sophomore. I don't think West is going anywhere. I really don't.
Well, they may not, but either way, this is their moment right now because they got a tough matchup against Jeff City.
Because in 2017 they finished second, so they got another opportunity to finish the deal this year. Good luck to Coach Goff and his group. CBC, in that one against
CBC, another one. They won 3-2 over your Lindbergh team.
Yeah,
Lindbergh team. They had a good run though.
They did.
They had a really good run. CBC puts up 2 in the top of the 7th. They're chasing. They're down 2-1. They put up 2 in the top of the 7th and squeak it out 3-2, which Kevin was at that game. And, he said it was, electric. Atmosphere was amazing. Yeah. And which is, I love seeing that for high school baseball.
I do too, bud.
Because I don't think high school baseball gets enough credit. I don't think enough people bring attention to high school baseball. But CBC is another one that is, they're just loaded.
And there's some really good coaches. There's some really good talent. I think, and this is why to us it's very important because then, these kids, we know them going into summer ball, and but it's nice. Yeah. And I hope all these kids understand. I understand summer ball is important, and you get out to, if you're looking to get into that next level of college, I get all that. I'm all for it. Don't get me wrong. But heck, man, you got an opportunity. You know you got a good team. You know you got this high school experience. I don't think, just that part of it. It's your school. It's a lot. This is why you're going to college. It's kind of that same thought process, right?
Well, you're playing for your school.
Right? Yeah. And it's the same thing. You're playing for your school. You're playing with your buddies, people that you've known, growing up.
Right.
And that experience, and these kids right now that are traveling to Springfield to play in these semifinals, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, man.
It is. And, I mean, I go back whenever I played and just some of the atmospheres that we had, and then you walk in, and I guarantee you I'm not the only person that thought this. Like, how cool would it be to play in front of the atmosphere that was at CBC Lindbergh, the atmosphere that was at Francis Howell Zumwalt West.
Right. Yeah.
Or even, coaching in that atmosphere, because if, I coach in the summer, and you don't get that atmosphere in the summer. Because, as we discussed in the summer, when you get further in events, I'm talking about big events, when you get to the Final 8, Final 4, most of the people that are there to watch have already gone home. So they're watching on TV, they're watching live stream. They're not there rooting you on.
Right.
So it's a different atmosphere altogether.
It almost decrescendos.
It does. Yeah, it's almost as if the first round of bracket play is where it's at. And this may be very similar for these guys too, because not as many people are going to travel to Ozark to watch Zumwalt West play. I mean, they'll bring a bus for fans to go, but it's not the same as being in your own backyard. And if you get to the finals, obviously, you'll have people travel, but it's not the same.
I hope it will be. We'll see. We'll let you know.
Well, but it's also like, okay, when Duke and North Carolina play each other, and it's at Duke, it's rowdy. If it's at North Carolina, it's rowdy. If Duke and North Carolina play each other in the Final Four, it's rowdy, but you don't have all of the fans.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Cameron Indoor or something like that, right?
Correct. It's a lot of people that can afford to get to that location.
Yes.
Same for football. So it's...
I agree.
But either way, Zumwalt West, Jefferson City, that's going to be a great game. Liberty, CBC, that's going to be a great game. All four of these teams are very, very good.
Yep. I mean, you look at the quarters. Jeff City beat Republic 1-0.
Yes.
And then Liberty 5-2 over Raymore Peculiar. This whole Class 6 deal, you look at this, you had a 1-run ball game, a 3-run ball game, a 1-run ball game, and a 1-run ball game.
Well, I mean, Liberty had to beat Bark Hill and had to beat Liberty North to even get out of the district. Because that was one of the districts that we discussed that was going to be very, very difficult.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys bring to the table here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And just to let you folks know, as we're finishing up here today, Justin and I we'll be heading down to Springfield. We're getting ready to pack everything up and head down that way. We're recording this a little early today, so we can do that. So we're going to be down there for the Kennett game this evening. Be down for the semifinals tomorrow. Looking forward to all the semifinals. We're going to have an interview with Coach Goff and the Fort Zumwalt West group as they prepare for their semifinal game. We're looking forward to talking. I appreciate Coach Goff taking the time, allowing us to do that.
It's very nice of him.
Yep. So we're going to be doing some live look-ins. We'll have some video. We're going to be reporting on some of the stuff that's going on down there. So we're looking forward to it. It's our first time. I'm kind of nervous actually because I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Fake it till you make it, Brian. Fake it till you make it.
No, but we're gonna have a lot of fun. So hey, man,
It'll be exciting. Here we go. This is it.
Let's see picks. Come on, give me some picks, dude.
I mean,
I already picked Green Valley.
At this point, I mean, I don't know how you can turn away Zumwalt West. It just, after watching that game, it almost seems like it's destiny for them this year.
Yeah.
To pull this off. And the other ones, I have a really hard time in Class 5 going away from Willard. But then again, all of my picks, you probably don't want me to pick you because if I do, it means you're probably going to lose. So,
well, I got Green Valley. We'll see what happens. You're taking Willard there. Well, that could be a very good final, right?
Yeah, and Kennett and Blair Oaks. I think that's a toss-up, to be honest with you. I mean, that's just whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is probably going to win.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kennett maybe has a little more talent up and down from what we've talked about over the season. So we'll see if that comes to the top. CBC, talented group of kids, young team. Will Liberty be able to pull that one out? I'm looking forward to it. I agree with you. I think Zumwalt West is the favorite here. I think they have the most experienced team, and so we'll see what gives.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, guys, thanks for tuning in today. We appreciate you being with us. Hope this, stay tuned through tomorrow and into Saturday. We're going to have some updates and some hopefully some highlights for you of the games and whatnot. So we appreciate you tuning in. Remember, hit that subscribe button, hit the dinger, because that's what we do around here.
We hit dingers.
Absolutely. Everybody have a great day in the Lord, and all you pitchers, remember, keep throwing strikes, and you hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
Good advice. We'll see you next time.